And it leads it into the Gano story, which is what it's all really about. Get comfortable as I tell the story. So the Gano story was, I had a friend, I'll just keep it a friend, who wanted to get me into his sales gig. And I knew nothing about sales. I was just a not so smart teenager, let's say. And he kept on pushing and pushing. And he says, come on, man, join. Come on, you can do it, whatever. And his other buddy was there. And he's like, come on, really do it. And I'm like, okay, fine. So then I go to check out Gano. It was very cool. Giant warehouse thingy. And they gave me a tour, which was really cool. The teas were really cool. I got to try some out. And then after the whole presentation, it was a... what would you call it? Not business to business. I forget the type of marketing, not really scheme per se, but selling to friends or whatever, so they sell as well, and then everyone, it's the structure. I won't say it out loud, but he was trying to sell me, and I'm just not really into it per se. How does this lead into anything, Danny? I'm going right into it. So after all that, they wanted to see a card trick out of me. They like, okay, fine, whatever. And we were in their like boardroom at the time. It was like warehouse boardroom. It was kind of cool. And they took me in, just the two friends. The two friends took me to the boardroom. And they said, okay, you got to do a card trick. I'm like, okay. And we're going to dictate the situation. So I'm like, locked in a like narrow boardroom situation. Beautiful oak wood desk, and I have a pack of cards out. They take the cards, they shuffle it, and this is remnants of Second Chance, but a little bit more difficult per se. After the cards were shuffled many times by each other, and they were out of my hands. This is a normal deck of cards, no tricks, anything. Then they said, okay, what do you want me to do? Here, I'll have you select a card. No, we're going to select it. And then they went through, they turned away, they peeked a card, and then they got it. I'm like, okay. Well, I didn't really have any control over this. I'm like, okay, maybe I can peek the cards. But they kept the deck tilted down. It's like they knew. They've been watching Magic videos just to try to get me, okay? So they had to have their card secretly right here. And they're like, okay, here, what are you going to do? And then I'm like, okay, I'll take back card. No, you can't take back the cards. So it's just crazy. Removing the magicians. What can a magician do in these situations was always my thing. How far can you delay outing yourself was another question that popped in my mind. So then I'm like, okay, you can lose the card back inside the deck. Okay, and then they turn around and they insert the card inside the back. You could just hear it. And then they said, okay, lost inside here. What are you going to do? And they shuffled it before I even said anything. And I'm like, well, shuffle the cards. So they mixed on up. So I'm trying to think, okay, so I had no control over the card, putting it back. Many parts of the control were lost. But I was not allowed to escape this situation. I had to pull on through. So, sounds like a horrible card trick, huh? So after all these cards, I hope I'm not going over on time. So after all these cuts and shuffles, then I said, okay, now what? Okay, I'll take the cards back. And I was thinking, okay, I'll just lay a card down. I could possibly be wrong. It's fine. And then just do some color change to change it in the card. So let's just say hypothetically it was the Ace of Spades. Okay, I cut it right here. And then I can say, was it the Ace of Hearts? Oh, well, similarity. No. And then I can just do a shake and get it to change to the Ace of Spades. Wouldn't be the perfect effect, but that's how I'd normally out. They said, but no, you can't touch the cards the whole way through. I'm like, oh dear God, I have no way to manipulate the cards from in or out. And I'm just like, how am I going to manage this? So I'm like, okay, fine, deal the card, just spread them all out. I'm just like, okay, maybe I can fix it through this way. So they spread all the cards all around. You can see them all across the boardroom like this. And I said to him, okay, point to any card. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like thinking my one last out. And I'm like, okay, you can even move it to the side, whatever. And so they're just thinking of a card. They've shuffled. They've done everything. I cannot manipulate it the whole way through. And I'm like, okay, well, let me gather the cards up. No, you can't touch the cards. And I was like, that was my last hope. My very last hope lost. Because I was like, maybe I could gather them up real fast and then color change it one last time. That was my last out. No, you can't touch them. They were like the other guy was a big bruiser kind of guy, so there's no way I can even get close to manipulating. I'm like, I'm out of outs. I have nothing. I'm just going to be wrong. And I accepted it. But before I did, I'm like, and call me as cliche as you want. God, if you're there, I could really use your help right now, buddy. that is literally what I was thinking. And I kind of maybe just thought it. And then they turned over their card that they were holding for dear life. And they started freaking out and running across the room, and like literally the most craziest reactions you see on David Blaine, more reactive than the reaction of David Blaine. They were like pooping bricks, let's say, for for like 3 minutes straight, 2 to 3 minutes straight, and I was just smiling and like, thank you. That it nailed, that it landed a 1 in 52, and I made it at that exact time. That I could never even come close to that. But through the inspiration of lottery tickets and my friend Sean always doing an 8-can, so huge amount of credit goes out to Sean on this, sincerely, on creating this effect. We get to create something close to that, and it just kind of lives on. And I want to get as close as I can to that effect, where you're almost totally hands off the whole entire way through, and it just lands, and it's just like, wow. And I'm just smiling right there. And to that end, that's how Second Chance was kind of born. It gives that moment where it could be, and I always want just to be there. In the small chance it lands, you got something great. If not, well, we can do it the regular way, and you got the second chance anyways. And it's still a good effect, just like a normal second chance. So with that said, I wish everyone a wonderful day, and if you haven't checked out this video yet, definitely check it out. And I'll see you there.